Hello, this is Scott, and in this video I will show you how to create an FRC chassis using the SOLIDWORKS weldment feature. Weldments are a very useful feature that will allow you to quickly create and edit assemblies made from structural tubes, angles, and other shapes. This feature allows you to create tubes and other structural shapes from lines in a sketch. In this video, I will walk you through the process of creating a chassis similar to the one from our 2018 robot Keystone. So let's get started. Now, to start, I will be creating a three-dimensional sketch, which we'll use to generate the geometry of all of our tubes. So select 3D sketch. You don't need to use a 3D sketch for weldments. You only need it if you have tubes that aren't all in the same plane, and in the case of this chassis, the tubes are not all in the same plane, so we do need a 3D sketch. Now, to start off, we will be drawing out the geometry for the tubes on this lower chassis portion. So what we're going to do is select the top plane and double click on it. When you double click, the appearance of the plane should change and it should have these grid lines on it. The reason you want this is because when you have the grid selected like this, you can only sketch within the grid, and everything is automatically constrained to that grid. Whereas if you're sketching like this, a three-dimensional sketch, your lines can be at arbitrary angles in three-dimensional space, which can make it harder to to constrain everything, especially if you want everything to be within a single plane, which for the moment we do. So let's double click the top, and I'm going to start with the center rectangle centered on the origin, and this is going to be the outer profile of the first level of our chassis. So get some dimensions in. It's going to be 32 inches long and 27 inches wide. Now you'll notice in this model that the tubes here are set in from the outermost part of the chassis. So what I'm going to do is set both of these lines to be construction geometry, draw two new lines that are inside of those, and the outer edge of this tube is set 2.2 inches in from the frame perimeter. Now when you do this, you want to be careful that you don't use this center line dimensioning, but you use dimensioning in only one direction, because otherwise it will only set the tube in half of the desired distance. Next, I will add line for the crossbar that goes across the middle of the chassis, and the front of this bar is located 13.875 inches back from the front of the chassis. Finally, I need to make the gap in the front of the chassis. So what I'm going to do is use the Split Entities tool. Now I'm going to click there and there to split the front chassis twice. Select this, make it construction geometry, and then these are both going to be 6 inches, and I'm going to set this line equal to the other one. So now we have the basic geometry for the first layer of our chassis. Now I'm going to go ahead and exit the sketch, and I'm going to select weldments. I'm going to select structural member, and come here and select FRC, which is the name of the custom tube profile library that I created, which contains several common tube and angle extrusion profiles for FRC, and the files will be linked in the video description. So I'm going to start by selecting a 2 by 1 by 1/8 inch wall tube. Select that, select a new group, and now I'm going to click on this line here to create a tube from it. And SOLIDWORKS will automatically locate the center of the tube on the center line. But we want these lines to represent the outside of all the tubes. What I'm going to do is click this Locate Profile button, and I'm going to select the middle front of that tube, and SOLIDWORKS realigns it to be lined up with that point. So next I'm going to want to select this tube going to the back of the chassis, but I unfortunately can't do that because within the same group, because the ends of the lines don't connect, and SOLIDWORKS only allows you to select multiple lines within a group if they form a continuous chain. So I'm going to select New Group, select this line. Now, once again, I'm going to want the outer center of the tube to be lined up with the line. So I'm going to select Locate Profile and select the point on the outside center. Then I'm going to repeat this one more time for this rear tube here. And there we go. I'm going to leave these lines alone, actually, because I'm going to mirror these tubes later in the process, and in doing so mirror some of the other features that I will add to them. So I'm going to click OK, and now I want to create the tube that goes across the center middle of the chassis. But in order to do that, I have to create a new structural member feature, as that's a different tube profile. So I'm going to select this 1x1 by 16th inch tube, click on New Group, and select this line. And I want this line to be the front of the tube, so I'm going to select Locate Profile and click on the front center of the tube to move it backwards. Now this is located vertically centered on the chassis and with the front located to the front edge as we like it. So I'm going to click OK. Now you notice that this tube does not automatically trim against this other tube because it's in a different group, and we'll have to manually trim this end, which we'll do later on. So now the next step here is I'm going to create the sketch for the top layer of the chassis, and if you wanted to, you could have sketched all of this in the when we first did this initial sketch. I'm just breaking it up into smaller steps, I guess. So anyways, what I'm going to do is create reference plane, which will be offset from the top plane, and that's going to be 3 inches, and the bottom of these tubes in the new sketch are going to be 3 inches above the middle plane of this chassis. So I'm going to click OK. And now I want to use this plane in the same 3D sketch that we created all of this from, because we're going to go back and edit that. I'm going to drag this above that 3D sketch, and I'm going to select Edit Sketch. Now you want to select the plane to draw on it. I'm going to create a center rectangle, and now I'm going to control click on the center of the rectangle and on the origin, and we're going to select a normal relation, which will line up the center of this rectangle directly above the lower one. Now I'm going to go ahead and give this some dimensions. It's going to be the same, 27 inches wide and 32 inches long. I'm going to go back and split entities again to open up the front of this frame. Add construction geometry. Now what I'm going to do is set an equal constraint on all of these so they're all the same length. And that's everything we need now to create our second level. So I'm going to exit the sketch, and I'm going to go ahead and edit this 1x1 feature to add in the new 1x1 members. So I'll select a new group, click this tube, that tube, and that tube, and you can see that I can do all of these in the same group because the ends line up there. Now back here, now I'm just going to do the entire top profile at once because I'm not going to be mirroring any features here. And so now here, I actually am going to want this rear tube to come all the way out to the edge here and shorten this other tube. That way, this tube's the same length as that one, this tube's the same length as that one, which kind of makes things a bit simpler, I suppose. But to do that, I just click on this corner here, down on trim, order. We have butt end 1 selected. We're going to switch that to butt end 2, and that just switches this around. So select the butt end 2. We have that there. This one is already the way we want it. And then this one, we're going to switch to mirror this one over here. So we're just going to click here, select and butt 2, click OK, and we're good. Now, just select OK, and we have the second layer of our chassis. Oh, so I can see here that this tube is farther out than it should be. I want it to be lined up with the outer edge here, the outer edge there, and that's true all the way around. And this is on the not lined up the way I want it. So I'm going to come back here, select Edit Feature, and I forgot to locate wrong group. So go to Group 2, and I forgot to locate Profile when I was creating this. So I'm actually going to want to select the lower front corner as to locate our profile on. Click OK. Now if we look at the top view, we can see it's lined up with the front and back of the chassis, as long as with the as well as with the outer edge of this bit, that piece. So now we're good there. So the next thing is I'm going to go and add in the risers into the sketch and then create those using the weldment tool. So coming back to here, I go back to the 3D sketch, edit that, and then for all of these corner risers, I can just draw a line from one point to another. Here, to a center point to center point, put one right in the middle there. And now for these other ones, it's a little bit trickier, and what I'm going to do is create a line, comes straight to there, across to there, and then, or actually I don't need that. Just going to create some lines that come straight down to the construction line we have there. Make this along the y-axis. Whoops. instead of that, perhaps we'll make these perpendicular instead. Then we will set these to be 9.75 and 21.75 from the front of the chassis. And just adding a coincident constraint to fully find this. So now I'm going to go ahead and exit the sketch again. And I'm going to add in the 1x1 risers. So I'm going to hit this feature and create another new group and select this, 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 and this, and or perhaps not. I'm actually going to go ahead and do these one at a time because the alignments are going to be different. So I'm going to have to select locate profile. I'm going to want this corner to be the to line it up with, and create another one. Locate profile. Select to that corner. Do this just a couple more times. Select this corner. That corner. And this middle one. And this one we want to keep centered, so we're going to select the outer middle point to locate the profile. And there we go. Now you'll notice that these are all not trimmed at the bottom, and we will take care of that in a second. So the next thing I'm going to do is add in the larger risers for the outer bumper rail. So we're going to create another structural member feature, and we're going to select the 3x1 by 1/8 inch tube, create a new group, select this, and that. Now these are lined up the wrong way from where we want them to be oriented, so we're going to select 90 degrees to rotate both of those. And now we're going to have to line these up, and I'm going to locate the profile with this front outer corner, which puts them right where we want them. Now we can click OK on them. And now we're going to go ahead and trim the bottom of all of these. So we're going to select Trim Extend, and for bodies to be trimmed, we're going to select all of these parts we want trimmed. And for the trimming boundary, we're going to select bodies, select this, this, and this. Now we'll cut all of these off where they're interfering with the lower portion of the chassis. You click OK, and we're good. And you can see that for these, it not just trimmed them, it actually cut out a notch that the lower tube fits into, which is quite nice. And we might want the same thing on the top, but the tube's not long enough to get up there quite yet. So I'm going to fix that right now. I'm going to go select Edit Sketch, and a quick way to do this is to just draw a line to another line, make both of these construction, and make them both 1 inch. Now I don't just want to draw another line segment here. I want to actually extend this lower line, because if I add a second line segment, it will create separate tubes for each of these portions, which is not what we want at all. So now I'm just going to select Extend Entities, and it will extend the lower line up to the end of the top line. I created the construction geometry first because if I just click Extend on some line with nothing past the endpoint to stop it, it doesn't have a defined endpoint, so the line would be infinitely long and SOLIDWORKS can't create it. So now I'm going to exit the sketch, and I'm going to get an error on these tubes. And I'm just going to go ahead and edit this and see what I can do. So I just click on this again, select 90 degrees, in, and click Locate Profile. And we're good to go there. And it still notches out this bottom part because the previous trim feature still works. Now let's just edit this trim feature to include this top tube if we can. And we can. So now that I've done that, both the top and the bottom are notched out, which would provide for a very sturdy connection between the upper and lower frame were we to build this. Now the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do before I start mirroring all of this is to just add in some of the cutouts for the gearboxes and chain tensioners and such. So I'm going to select Sketch on this face, and let's line that up. Okay, so this line from the previous sketch is already available. It's visible and available to us, which is convenient. So I'm just going to create some holes for a West Coast Drive style bearing output mount. This is actually not going. You'll notice that the center bar would interfere if we were at the exact center, and the center wheel in this chassis is not actually at the center of the at the center of the or the center wheel is not actually at the center of the chassis on this spot because it had a slightly weird drivetrain to fit everything, but it worked out. So this, let's not do this way. Yes, and yes. So I'm just gonna do an extruded cut through this for our bearing block. That's okay. Now do a new sketch. Just throw a couple of points on the center line again, and will be one place and over two from the center of this circle. And there we go. And so this sketch, use Hole Wizard to create a couple holes. These are going to be screw clearances. You want number number 10 screw, I believe. And condition through all. Ready sketch. Select these points. Now we're good. Now I'm going to do some cutouts for sliding, some sliding bearing blocks. So I'm going to make this 0.75 inches tall, which should fit a half-inch hex shaft, no problem. We're going to allow 0.75 inches of sliding, and now we're going to set this, let's see, 2.5 inches from this back edge. So we're running 4-inch wheels. They'll be they'll have half an inch of clearance relative to this outer part when they're at the most extreme position. Now we're going to do the well, now I'm going to put a point here for the screw, which will add an extrusion. And this is going to be 0.625, which is away, I think. And these dimensions are all things you should check yourself, depending on what kind of sliding bearing mounts you choose to use and what kind of gearbox and all that thing. So this is, I'm just going to, no. This is just going to be through all. Yes. No. Let's try that again because I did something weird. through all. There we go. Now, just going to show this sketch. Oh, going to show this sketch again so I can use it for the whole wizard. I'm going to actually use a countersunk. It's not really countersunk, but I just want to get a clearance through the screw head through the near side of the hole, so that when you, and that's not quite, it's not counterbored quite deep enough, so I'm going to edit this and go custom sizing, make that 1.15, so it's all right there. That's good. Now I'm going to just mirror these features about the center plane of the chassis in this direction. So what I'm going to do is create some a reference plane, select that face and this face, and that puts it in the center there for me. Select OK, and select mirror. Features to mirror are going to be this cut extrude and this counterbore. Click OK, and we're good there. And so now that that's taken care of, I'm going to go ahead and mirror this bar and that bar to the other side of the chassis. So, okay. So, next mirror bodies this, 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 and this. And we're going to do that about the right plane. And click OK. Now everything on this side is just how we want it. Only a major issue here is that this bar here still needs to be trimmed. Now that we have these bars on both sides of it, I'm going to add that feature in so we can trim both sides at the same time. Select weldment, tab, trim extend, bodies to be trimmed. This bar is trimmed by this body and this body. Click OK. Now we can see that's no longer phasing through that tube. So now that's pretty much everything we need for a basic chassis with the tubes and some cutouts for mounting a bearing housing and sliding bearing blocks and cams for tensioners and such. So that's if we go back to our keystone model, you can see that we have some lightning cutouts and some additional mounting holes are needed for the ball shifters, but those are all simple enough to add in. So in the next portion, I'm just going to show you how to, and of course we'd want to assign material in a real model as well. But in the next portion, I'm just going to show you how to quickly, I'm just going to give you a quick demonstration of how to make drawings of individual chassis tubes and how to save individual tube files if, for example, you want to export them to CAM software for CNC. So I'm going to cover that in another video, I think, and I'm going to end this video here. So thanks for watching, and I hope that this was helpful. Goodbye.